like, oh, I don't know which button is forward or backwards, but we'll see what happens. Think about limits, fear, and courage. When you reach the limits of what you know and believe, you have the choice to accept or reject those limits. Does fear stop you? Or does courage drive you? And what happens when you don't know why those limits exist? Would you dare to challenge them if your gut said so? Let me share with you what happened when I started trusting my gut. I've always been driven to achieve. Tell me the rules, tools, metrics, and goal, then wait for me to claim the prize. In school, I knew that the rule was to learn. The tool, IQ. The metric, high grades, 1, 0, 0. And the prize, stickers. Some people like pens, I like stickers. Stickers for attendance, stickers for good attitude, stickers for sports, stickers for art, stickers for drama. I liked stickers. I could count them, I could see them, I could stick them. Pens, stickers, stickers. Any sticker lovers here? All right. Stickers were silly, but they motivated me. They mattered because the things that were measured and rewarded mattered. Everybody told us that they mattered. Every sticker, award, medal, or ribbon told me I was smart and successful. Smart and successful was good. That's what we want. So through to university, I continued following the rules, using my IQ tools, passing the test until I reached the prize. A full-time job in an engineering company. I had success equated by status, stability, security, and savings. Well, success was supposed to be different. I expected to be happy, fulfilled, and excited about each day, and I wasn't. And so I struggled. It turns out that my IQ, my logic, and my reason wasn't very good at dealing with these emotions. Yeah, imagine that. Let this sink in. Engineers have emotions. And so I thought, well, I'll ask other people for advice. And most people told me I should be happy to have a nice job, a good paycheck, a stable life. You know, logically, I agreed, but emotionally, it didn't make me feel any better. So then I thought about this, some relationship advice I had received from a colleague, a fellow engineer. The secret to a good relationship is to keep expectations low. I'm sure he was kidding. So, was I expecting too much out of life? Because the problem was I had followed the rules. I had used the tools. I had followed the metrics, checked them all off. I had the prize. But success was an illusion. It looked so great on the outside. It sounded so fantastic, but on the inside, it just wasn't. And so as time went on, I became less happy each day, less motivated even to wake up. And in the fog of this discontent came this voice from my gut. Chase your dream, be an artist. What? Illogical, irrational, unreasonable, impractical. Chasing my dream meant change. Change meant risk. Risk meant no guarantee of success. No success? What's good about no success? Nothing. So I ignored my gut, and I built a nice concrete dam around those nasty, annoying emotions. And a year or so later, there I was, successful, had everything going for me, this bright career laid out ahead of me. And I was numb with indifference. I couldn't care less. I got tired of limiting myself, tired of limiting what I wanted, tired of limiting what I could be. And against all logic, I had to make a change. Against all rationale and reason, I listened to my gut. I listened to my gut and I quit my job, moved across the country, left my family and friends, left my comfort zone, started art school. And it sounds, it's just one sentence now, but during this year and a half that I was making this transition, almost daily, panic would well up in my throat. I felt like I was choking. And fear would make my stomach queasy. And my knees, they just shook all the time because I was so uncertain. And it felt like every day I was making these mistakes. I was stumbling, but I got back up, stumbled, get back up. You know, that poor girl, why didn't she just stay down there? And you know, every day my emotions, my self-confidence went on these highs. You know, I can do anything. And then these lows, like, oh, I'm awful, I'm pathetic, you know, I'm just such a loser. And yet, in the middle of all of this mess, this chaos, this upheaval, this fear, uncertainty, strangely, I loved it. Because where I had felt numb before, now I was alive, I was excited, I was challenged each day. And so there I was, living my dream of being an artist after all. And to my complete surprise and amazement, my old company offered me a new job that would combine the skills of engineering and art. So I moved back home. I started working again. And within 2 years, I would stage my first solo exhibition as an artist. Listening to my gut, this thing had led me straight into the best of both worlds, making money as an artist, making money as a logical engineer, and creating as this emotional artist. And so this experience taught me two things. Number one is my IQ. It wasn't as useful and as valuable as I had thought for everything in life. It didn't really deal with my emotions very well. And number two, the advice of others, maybe it didn't always apply to my life. And so maybe my gut was smarter than I thought, and maybe life had more to offer than what other people had told me. So in 1999, I listened to my gut again. If there was any doubt about listening to my gut, that doubt would soon dissolve. In 1999, I left Canada to go to China. I didn't think it would be such a big deal to take 7 months off, so I got my leave of absence, saved my money, had my plan, and then I got on the plane. But within weeks of arriving in Beijing, I knew I didn't want to go back. I knew it. But I fought that knowledge. I fought my gut. The plan was, I hung on, and like a rope that frays strand by strand from an abrasive truth, my ties to Canada snapped. I moved to Shanghai. My new life was tough. I didn't speak the language. My savings were dwindling. Nobody understood my choices. Not even me. From a city of 200,000 in Canada with friends and family with support, now I was in this city of 16 million in China, alone and with nothing. Having broken the rules and abandoned the tools, discarded the metrics, I didn't even know what my goal was. I needed a goal. What prize could there be if I stayed in China? And I had the choice. I could choose to retreat to my comfort zone, to safety, to everything I knew. Or I could choose to challenge the limits of my courage. My gut said, stay. 15 years later, here I am, still in China. So was I right to listen to my gut? Well, you can decide. Since coming to China, I've staged 2 more solo exhibitions as an artist. I've changed careers a couple more times, started my own business, climbed to a leadership role in the community. Each day I wake up filled with purpose, joy, fulfillment, excitement. I have more friends now, more family. And I even have fans. If you ride taxis in Shanghai or Beijing or other Chinese cities, you may know me as the exercise coach for appearing in videos that have reached 775 million taxi passengers in China. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I've helped to create and build this public service campaign, which is challenging the limits of what people are willing to do for their health. And for that, we won 10 industry awards, spanning Shanghai, China, and also Asia Pacific. And you know, this mission to boost public health is daunting People don't want to exercise and eat better and stress less. But my gut says go. And as a leader, I welcome this opportunity to change the rules, tools, metrics, and goals of how business is run and what we can do as individuals to create social impact. So if you haven't seen any of these videos yet, you get to see one right now. A reminder for us all to exercise more, eat better, and stress less.
不健康恶魔的势力越来越庞大。
我们一直都在战斗，但是不健康把巴彦抓走了。
今天我要救出巴彦。不会，不良姿势的僵尸。
有运动打扰他们。
走了这么多路，一定很饿。吃吧吃吧，好好享用吧。
用好营养打扰他。
加班！业绩！
用深呼吸打败他。加班！
八爷，我回来了。行动加油
！Thank you. When I reached the limits of what I knew and believed, I had the choice to accept or reject those limits. I challenged those limits. I went beyond the wisdom of my IQ. I went beyond the advice of others. I went beyond my fear, and I started trusting my gut. And when it came to my life, I left engineering. I left Canada. I left my comfort zone, and I claimed my courage. My gut pointed out a place to go well beyond the limits of what I thought I was capable of. But my gut was right. So what about your lives? When it comes to challenging limits, they don't have to be as drastic as changing careers, leaving home. Honestly speaking, I don't recommend it. It's quite traumatic. But challenging limits can start small. They can be as simple as just asking a question that nobody is asking, or looking at something from a different perspective, maybe to admit you're wrong, or to do something that is unexpected. Because the key to limits is to know that they're there to control you, or to protect you, or because nobody has thought to ask why, or to define differently. Do you know that it was just in the last 30 years that psychologists dared to suggest that intelligence could be measured by something other than the intelligence quotient, IQ? In 1983, Gardner suggested multiple intelligence. That was very controversial. In 1987, Cantor and Killstrom suggested social intelligence measured by SQ. And in 1990, Salovey and Mayer suggested emotional intelligence measured by EQ. What? EQ? Doesn't everybody know about EQ? Well, now we have moral intelligence, MQ, body intelligence, PQ, and a whole bunch of others. So have we become smarter in the last few decades? Are we that brilliant? Or have we just started challenging the limits of old definitions? And if that's the case, could we not have smart intestines? Could we have a gut quotient? Should we value it more then? Because I was taught to value numbers, facts, formulas, logic, reason. I love Excel spreadsheets, by the way. I didn't learn about this gut of mine, and yet I've learned that this gut of mine is smart. You know, it's hard for me to say that I trust my gut, especially as an engineer, a recovering engineer. But it turns out that I'm not the only one who uses her gut in business or in life. There's a lot of prominent, very successful business leaders who use their gut. Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson, even Steve Jobs, who never had a focus group ever before he launched his parade of products that changed the world. And even Sigmund Freud, he was quoted. When making a decision of minor importance, I have always found it advantageous to consider all pros and cons. In vital matters, however, such as the choice of a mate or a profession, the decision should come from the unconscious, from somewhere within ourselves. Well said, Mr. Freud. Want a sticker? So if our guts are so smart, should we trust them for everything? Well, only you can decide that. But in my experience, listening to my gut has been very, very good at pointing out what to choose in big, complicated life decisions. But at the end of the day, you still have to make things happen in the practical sense. You have to make the choice, the change, the sacrifice. You have to actually do the work, pay the bills, face your fears. In life, you actually need every tool that's in your toolkit according to the situation. So it just makes sense to have as many tools as possible, whether it's IQ or EQ, BQ, SQ, MQ, or whatever other Q might be floating around in this mix. What it boils down to is that when you have the courage to trust yourself, your wisdom, and your abilities, you realize that many limits hold you back from experiencing your true self, claiming your power, and knowing what you're really made of. And so the next time you face a limit, are you going to accept it or reject it? Because maybe it doesn't matter what people say or think about what you can or can't do, should or shouldn't do, you can decide for yourself. You can make that choice and trust that decision. Because while experts have yet to define and measure the gut quotient, why get hung up on what to call the stirring in your intestines? Just embrace the fact that you're smart and you have power in you. You're smarter than you have been taught. You're more capable than you realize. It's time to think about your life with a more open mind and make room to trust that gut of yours. So we're going to start right now with the very first step. For the sake of your gut, it's time for exercise. Uh-oh. Can you play the sound? All right. Oh, yeah. All right, everybody get up. All right, take that a little bit. All right, keep that.